Hello, welcome back. This is Ashley. My channel is called Of Olive Oil and Honey. I am doing a little movie series, probably like a four-part. I think I'll do just four parts. So last week I did my first one, part one. That was my favorite Christian romance movies, and I dropped my seven top favorite that I've seen. And this week I wanted to actually do something very different. And I wanted to share my favorite gritty Christian movies. So I love Christian romance, but I also really enjoy gritty movies ever since I was young for whatever reason. Um, and like I shared in my last video, my very first video, there was a period of time where I just felt led by the Lord to only watch Christian movies for about a year and a half. And so throughout that period, whenever I found a really good Christian movie, I would write the name of the movie in my phone and just kind of hold on to it. And if people were looking for recommendations, I would just give it to them. But I've been really feeling led to share some of those movies here just because I know, like, I often in the past would go to YouTube and I would just search for like Christian movies, but it's almost overwhelming. There's so many options. So I just wanted to make the process a little easier. And so I wanted to just share my favorite gritty Christian movies. I only have five, so this will be a quicker video. And I think part of the reason why I really enjoy the more gritty type of films is because it's more realistic. Where I feel like Christian romance, it's sweet and it's more lighthearted, but the gritty, they tackle really difficult things, and some of them you see some of the people overcome some really challenging stuff. And I think one or two of them are actually based on true stories. So I wanted to start with number five, Heaven Quest, A Pilgrim's Progress. And this is based on, I think his name is John Bunyan. It's an allegory that came out that he wrote many years ago. And the background for this movie in particular, a regal man named Bengal is thrust on a journey against his will when he is mysteriously arrested and begins to have strange visions of a woman in white. Armed with an ancient book that he receives from a wise sage, his adventure begins. And like, have you ever heard of that phrase, "the slow of despond"? Like, it's just very allegorical. It's not like overwhelmingly Christian, like, but when you're watching the movie, you see the undertone. Like, as the plot goes on, you'll see, like, you'll start aligning things. And so I just really appreciate that it's a type of fantasy movie. I've never really seen a Christian fantasy movie before this one, so it was really interesting. It's really different, and it's available on Freevee, Tubi, and Prime. Number four, Underserved. And this is the background. Dawn is ready to finish high school when her neglectful, party-loving mother is tragically killed, forcing Dawn to go live with her Aunt Jamie, who co-pastors a church with her husband, Willem. Not long into her story, long into her stay, things go terribly wrong and Dawn runs away. When Dawn's Aunt Jamie realizes her home was not the safe haven she thought it was, she embarks on a courageous search for Dawn. And this one is available on Freevee, Tubi, and Prime. This one, I mentioned in one of my previous videos. I don't want to ruin it too much, but I do want to give a heads up that this one actually addresses trafficking. And so I think that's part of the reason why I really enjoyed this one. Is because, like, it's a real threat out there for young women that are just in really difficult positions, and not even young women. It's also young men as well. And so, highly recommend that one. It's really good. Number three, I have Break Every Chain. And so if you've been on like most streaming platforms, you've probably seen this one recommended. It's actually really good. Wasn't expecting it. I think I actually watched this one on YouTube though for free. And the background is a true account of how God forever changed the life of a police officer who was battling alcoholism, depression, and devastating loss. And so this one is a true story. This one is mainly about a couple in a marriage and just some of um, the trials that came with that. They're more so attached to oh, it's so hard. I don't want to ruin the movie, but just some of the things that come along with being married to someone that's a first responder. It was a really interesting watch, and it mentions how he battled alcoholism. And the one thing I will tell you, like, many of the movies that I recommend are going to be available on YouTube. Here's the thing, though. Like, just like some of the other ones, like Tubi and Freevee, they're free, but only because they're ad supported. So you're going to be watching the movie and there's going to be ad breaks. With YouTube, this is nothing but Satan. So this guy is battling alcoholism, and YouTube is showing me alcohol ads in between the breaks. And I was like, this is so ironic and inappropriate and demonic. This is not okay. And this is actually not the only movie that's happened where I would watch a Christian movie and the main character would be struggling with alcoholism, and YouTube is showing ad breaks with alcohol. That's the only thing if you're watching movies on YouTube. Just be careful of that. So this one is available on Tubi and Prime. And then number 2, I have It's a Life Worth Living. And this is another true story. John, a man haunted by his beginnings, struggles with finding meaning and worth in his life. This leads him to choose a path of selfishness and drug abuse. Consequently, there's a breakdown of relationships with his family and his wife. When things start to crumble all around him, John gets the wake-up call that he needs on the form of a caring new friend and others in his life that reach out to him in ways they hadn't before. God, working through them and reaching out to John, guides him on a path of discovery about where his worth and value truly come from, and what in life is truly valuable. So like I mentioned, this guy John, he struggled with drug abuse. And it shows like all of the back and forth of going in and out of rehabs, the strain on the marriage. It touches on quite a few things. It was really interesting. Like, I feel like if you look at the cover of the movie, it looks like a low budget watch. And it kind of was low budget, but it was actually a really good movie. I really recommend it. And this one is available on Freevee, Prime, and Tubi. Number 1. Now, I will say this one, this is the most gritty Christian movie that I've ever seen in my life. Like, whenever I hear someone, there was one guy in particular on a trip to Israel who was like just really complaining about how terrible Christian movies were. When I watched this movie, I was like, you need to watch this one because this has no cheese, no lactose at all. Like, if you're really looking for gritty, Blanco is the movie that you need to watch. I will say there's some language, explicit language, just some really difficult scenes, some violence. I think there was some, like, it's been like a year since I've watched that movie. Some gang type of activity as well, I think. Just watch it. If you're okay with, again, like strong language and violence and things like that. And I don't know why they felt the need to describe his ethnicity and his background, but a young Latin man's faith is tested when he chooses to live life in the fast lane and crashes head on with its consequences. And this one's on Prime, CW, and Tubi. Yeah, Blanco is that movie was the real deal, but it was just so cool. This one, again, is a true story. And so it's just really neat to see how, he was in the pits, but then how God just picked him up and just gave him this completely just transformed life, and how he's able to just minister to other people and share his testimony. And that's the thing. That's, I think, part of the reason why I love these types of movies is because they're ministry in and of itself. Like, movies are ministry, I'm telling you. These movies, when I watch them, even the grittier ones, like I just feel like God sometimes brings movies into my life in a particular season to minister to me. Now, I can't remember what was ministering to me here. I think, if anything, it was like, yeah, there's some real Christian movies out here that they'll tackle the really difficult things. And so those are the 5 movies that I have. Are there any great movies that you've come across in, watching Christian movies that you would like to share? I'd be happy to sit down and watch them. Please do. They're kind of hard to come across. And also, if you watch any of these movies, please let me know your feedback. And so that's all I have for right now. I will see you guys next week. I'm still I think I might do sports Christian themed movies next time. Because even though I'm not a very sporty person, I actually just really enjoy the movies where they merge sports and faith. It just happens to go along just so well together. And so I'll be sharing that next time. That'll be part 3. So I will see you guys next time. Have a blessed day. Bye.